Hey everybody, it is Monday, November 1st, 2021. Thank you for joining me. We are back with more financial, economic news, real news, also known as another dose of economic reality. Today we've got another good one for you. We're going to talk about the supply chain disruptions, but we're going to hear from a truck driver, professional truck driver that says the supply crisis will not end. It will not end. We're going to tell you exactly what he means by that. But first, please make sure that you are subscribed. I like to hear all of your comments. I read as much as possible. I can't always respond. Sometimes I'm in line waiting to pick up a kid at school and I'm just reading them on my phone. And a lot of times I'm just glancing at my phone here and there. No time to actually respond to all the comments, of course, but I do love hearing from you, especially the frontline people, the people that are working in certain industries that we talk about that leave comments and feedback. Now, on this channel, I don't just give you my opinion. We give you data, charts, facts. We give you quotes from investors, some big time investors, well known investors, multimillionaire, billionaire investors. But also, it's very important to hear from the frontline people. Actually, even more important, the people that are actually on the street doing the work, doing the hustle, as some would call it, is much more valuable insight for most of us common people, us working people. Now, there may be a few mega millionaires listening to this channel, but I think most of us here are still the average working person trying to figure out how to navigate this crazy economic situation right now. And we know that the cost of living is something that impacts all of us, the rising prices, the items that are dwindling off of the shelves, causing more shortages, rising prices, all of the money stimulus being pumped into the economy, lots of different forces here that we've talked about time and time again. Lots of different forces pushing prices higher, and the average person is going to continue to feel the pinch. But here's what this truck driver said. Not the one in this picture. This is just a photo I put on here just for a little bit of imagery behind the story. But this was posted over at Medium, and the name of the author is Ryan Johnson. And the headline here is I'm a 20-year truck driver. I will tell you why Americans' shipping crisis will not end. And I'm just going to go ahead and read a couple excerpts out of this to give you kind of the main idea of why he's saying this. And it starts off like this, quote, I have a simple question for every expert who thinks that they understand the root causes of the shipping crisis. Why is there only one crane for every 50 to 100 trucks at every port in America? He continues, I'm a Class A truck driver with experience in nearly every aspect of freight. My experience in the trucking industry of 20 years tells me that nothing is going to change in the shipping industry. Now, he describes the shipping ports as the following: going to Walmart on a Black Friday, but only one cashier for all of the thousands of customers in the store. That's what's happening at the shipping ports. And this driver says there's 3 lines to get a container in or out of these ports. The first line is an in gate where hundreds of trucks daily have to pass through 5 to 10 available gates. The second line is a waiting to pick up your container. The third line is waiting to get out. For each of these lines, the wait time is a minimum of an hour, and he says he's waited up to 8 hours just in the first line to get in to the port. 8 hours, just the first line. And he says it's a rare day when drivers can get in and out in under 2 hours. By rare, he means just a few times a year. Now, before we continue, remember there's a shortage of about 80,000 truck drivers right now, and I think the next few things we're going to read is going to explain it pretty well. And this truck driver named Ryan continues, I'm fortunate enough to be a Teamster, a union driver, an employee paid by the hour. But most port drivers are independent contractors leased into a carrier who is paying them by the load. Whether the load takes 2 hours, 14 hours, or 3 days to complete, they get paid the same, and they have to pay 90% of their truck operating expenses themselves. All right, so that should tell you or give you a hint why there's such a shortage of truck drivers with the delays and the way that the pay is given to these drivers per load. Well, when it's per load and you have these types of delays, you're going to have a very more difficult time to find drivers willing to take on the task. All right, and it continues. The coastal ports start getting clogged up last spring due to impacts of the health crisis. drivers started refusing to show up. Congestion got so bad that instead of being able to do 3 loads a day, they could only do one. They took a 66.6% pay cut, and most of these drivers were working 12 hours per day while carriers were charging increased pandemic shipping rates. None of those rate increases went to the drivers. Many drivers simply quit. Earlier this summer, both BNSF and Union Pacific Railways shut down their container yards in the Chicago area for a week for inbound containers. These are some of the busiest ports in the country. They had miles upon miles of stacked container trains waiting to get in and out. The truck driver continues. A large portion of international containers must be hand unloaded because the products are not on pallets. It takes a working crew a considerable amount of time to do this, and the warehouse work wages are usually low. It's important to understand the cost implications for consumers with this lack of supply and slowdown. It's pure supply and demand economics. All right, so I'm not going to continue with the article. Gives you a pretty good idea of what's happening and why he says this is not going to come to an end. Now, some of you out there may say that the solution is just for these companies to pay higher wages. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get passed along to the consumer. And also, even if they were to get enough labor here to get everything loaded and unloaded in a more timely manner, what about the rising energy costs, right? Rising energy costs are going to bite into businesses, transport companies, shippers, you name it. And it's only leading to higher prices. Now, yes, if they stop printing money, that would take a huge leap towards fixing the problem, but we don't see that happening. This truck driver here that gave you the story that I just read part of it, he doesn't see that happening. And I know some of you get frustrated because we talk about the monetary structure and how it's flawed and how it's causing all of this mess, but we always have to go to the source of the problem. Now, the big question is, how are you and I going to deal with it? We're going to stomp our feet and complain about the structure. Well, that's what some people like to do. But here's the solution, or I think what you should at least consider doing, what I'm doing. And I have to give Gregory Mannarino credit. He's a very well-known YouTuber, economist, a market analyst, and kind of a Wall Street insider. And he says the following, and it may not be his quote, but he says, be your own central bank. What are central banks doing now? They're accumulating hard assets. Even though they create this digital, what they call currency out of thin air in unlimited amounts, in the background, they are buying hard assets. So real estate, metals, everything that you know that's going to go up with inflation, right? So maybe you're one of these people calling for a crash, and maybe because you think there's going to be a crash next week, you're in 100% cash. Well, if you would have been in a 100% cash position for the past 4 or 5 years, you would have been really losing out on some big investment opportunities. That's why I've said here for years, ride the bull. That means invest, ride the bull market, find a way to profit from this insane monetary structure, this rising cost situation, but also prepare for the bear. What if something breaks? What if something changes? What if the rug gets pulled out from under this structure, from this monetary system? Many people would argue with you that World War III is happening currently. And a lot of us working people are in the line of fire, if you know what I mean. Thanks everybody for being here. Stay well, stay safe, keep stacking. What do you think about the truck driver's comments that this shipping crisis will not be fixed? What do you think about that? Please let me know. Thanks for being here. Stay well, stay safe, keep stacking. Bye for now. Stay positive. Be your own central bank. Bye for now.